Hi, I'm Daphne Richards. Our question this week comes from KLRU engineer Chris Ostertag, who caught a great photo of turf grass covered in icicles during our recent extreme cold spell, when temps were in the teens and 20s across central Texas every night for almost a week. This made Chris wonder about something he'd always heard, how ice actually protects plants during a freeze. First of all, I can confirm that this information is true, but secondly, it only applies in certain circumstances, and it's only a technique that commercial growers should use. It isn't a feasible choice for homeowners. But still, let's satisfy your curiosity with a brief explanation. The physics behind why this works has to do with the fact that water releases heat, albeit a very small amount, as it freezes. If you think about it, this makes perfect sense because frozen water requires heat to melt. In instances of short freezes, growers can spray their crops with water using overhead sprinklers in order to keep the plant tissues just warm enough to mitigate the damage that would be caused if the plants were frozen solid for several hours. But the water has to be constantly applied over the entire window of freezing temperatures in order to be effective. This ensures that the ice forming on the plants is always at least partially in the liquid phase, and so would constantly be releasing just a little bit of heat. As you can gather, for homeowners, this extreme measure, which uses a very high volume of water and would require a large enough irrigation system that it could accomplish the task properly, isn't recommended. And when ice naturally forms on plants, as is the case here, that doesn't protect them. Our plants this week are a couple of penstemons, Brazos penstemon, tenuis, and Prairie penstemon cobea. Although these two beard tongues, as both and many of their relatives are commonly known, have slightly different growing conditions, they have many similarities. Both have large bell-shaped purple flowers occurring in stalks that shoot up from the base of the plant, which serves as a food source for bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. Both are perennials that are hardy to zone 7 or below. Both love the full sun, but can take partial shade, and both flower from spring through summer, with Brazos penstemon normally blooming a little earlier than Prairie. Brazos is also known as Gulf Coast penstemon, where it's native in Texas, and so prefers a bit heavier soil and a bit more water, while Prairie is native to drier regions and prefers a bit more soil drainage and a lighter touch with the irrigation. In the proper soil conditions, both are low water use plants, requiring supplemental irrigation only during the driest, hottest times. But if Brazos is planted in well-drained soil, water it just a bit more. Plant both in fall or early spring and prune to the ground in early spring each year, just before new growth begins to emerge. Mature height for both plants is listed at 1.5 to 2 feet, which includes the flower stalk, with Prairie penstemon spreading to only about 12 inches in width, while Brazos spreads to about 18 inches. And both have a very different appearance to their more commonly planted relative, rock penstemon, which is a bit more compact with flowers in shades of red. We'd love to hear from you, so visit us at klru.org/ctg to send us your questions, pictures, and videos.